Well, how about that, St. Patrick's? Good morning and welcome to the kickoff for our stewardship campaign for this year. Yeah, we will be back, but we certainly haven't waited to be church until we're back, until we're gathered in our spaces. And that is so very encouraging. The Spirit is so alive among us. When we gathered at our annual meeting this past January, none of us could have known what this year would be like. And I don't need to remind you of the disruptions and the losses and the anxieties that this year has brought to all of our communities, for we are still living with those impacts, and likely we will be for some time. But while the coronavirus pandemic has tested our resolve, it has not tested our faith. Our recent parish assessment, I do hope that you have looked at the summary that Allison Forbes put together. That assessment shows that we are stronger, we're more resilient, and we're more connected, better connected than we have ever been as a family of faith and as a community of neighbors. Thank you. Thanks to each and every one of you. Thank you for your faithfulness during this strange time, for doing your part in your homes, in your workplaces, in your schools, your neighborhoods, your families, at Malachi's, in person as you're able, and then also, and most importantly and especially, as we've done this virtually. Our stewardship and our mission this year have been focusing on partnering with God's great love, stepping out as creators of justice and joy. As we have experienced over 5 months of not being able to gather in person, we have definitely found ways to step out virtually, taking more time also to pray for each other's needs and the needs of our communities. You use this time to discover, hone, and put to use the gifts of the Spirit that God has so generously given you. God's generosity to you and your response and service to others is bearing great fruit in each of us here at St. Patrick's and beyond. God's generosity is truly generative. I am thrilled by our reach into the parish and into the community with food for the body through Malachi's, food for the soul through Sunday services and daily compline, and food for the heart and mind through our virtual gatherings through the week. And so I am hopeful and confident as we plan for the coming year, exploring how our generosity is inspired by our faith in our generous God, and how we are formed and led into relationship with each other as we share our gifts with the world. Our theme for the stewardship campaign this year is faith-filled generosity, something we're already practicing powerfully here at St. Patrick's. So ask yourself, how will you discover and use the gifts you have been given to help St. Patrick's this year? How will you hear the gospel call to seek and serve Christ in all persons and respond with generosity? What fruit will your generosity bear in you and in others? As I look at each family and each individual in our community, I realize that we are the stewards of God's manifold grace because we give to the world from what we have received. In the coming year, your stewardship committee, co-chairs Michael Crow and Ryan Maltese, will be sending you information on how to submit a pledge. I invite you to receive this with grace and prayer as you consider how you will share with God and God's church from what you have received. And so now, a little word from co-chair Ryan Maltese on our stewardship program this year.
Good morning, St. Pat's family. I'm so grateful to be joining you today in fellowship and worship, albeit in this virtual sanctuary. I miss you all and look forward to the day when we can come together again. Like so many of you, this has been a very difficult time for me and my family, restricted to the confines of home, worrying about jobs and school and friends, and longing for something to do or somewhere to go. It weighs heavy on all of us, but faith has given me the strength to endure this moment, knowing that it too shall pass, and at some point, the world will rediscover its purpose in whatever new normal awaits us. Still, I am grateful to be amongst you today, to have an opportunity to speak to you about the importance of sustaining our parish during these dark and troubled times, and most important, what it means to be a part of this church. I knew very soon after I started attending St. Patrick's that this would be the rock upon which I would build my faith and that of my family. When I approached Father Dick to inquire how I could be more involved and what ministries I should consider, he very quickly responded, "Hey brother, I need you on the vestry." I hadn't considered such a calling or whether I was even worthy of such an esteemed role in the life of the church. And though I saw every excuse not to seek nomination, I ultimately relented to the spiritual guidance of our phenomenal rector, perhaps one of the best decisions I've ever made. For me, serving on the vestry was some of the most important and fulfilling work I've ever done. It remains one of my greatest honors, and my commitment played an important and critical role in supporting the St. Pat's community. Now, don't get me wrong, it is work, a lot of work. There are the monthly meetings and the occasional early Sunday morning duties of preparing the church for worship, affectionately known as VPOD. There's also the sometimes long and arduous budget reports, as well as the occasional tersely worded admonitions from members and stakeholders regarding one issue or another. And during my time, there was also the dreaded cleaning of those massive coffee urns, 80 cups per, weighing about as much as a small pony and always seemingly still full long after the service was over. But this vestry leadership board, this group of individuals coming together in purposeful discernment, is absolutely amazing. They are truly the unsung heroes of our church. Every day, they make the decisions that support us and our local community in the best way possible. They keep our building maintained, our ministries healthy and active, our community welcomed and fed, our children nurtured and loved, and our parish truly blessed in the Spirit of Christ. It is a service of the highest calling, done without the expectation of thanks or recognition, but done in service for the children of God. It is a camaraderie, a fellowship, a collective of all-minded people focused on the betterment of those they are tasked to support. I am so grateful to have had that role, and I encourage every member of St. Pat's to consider serving as a member of the vestry board at least once, if the Spirit does so move you. As co-chair of the Stewardship campaign, I've spent a lot of time over the last few weeks reflecting upon my own commitment to St. Pat's and pondering what I may say to you about making your annual pledge. So much has been lost this year. I've been so frustrated and disappointed by all of the things that I missed from not being at church. The warm Sunday greetings from everyone I see, the leftover donuts in the parish hall, and even relaxing in the comfy chair of the parlor confabbing with anyone interested in a quick but meaningful chat. I miss Nathan's graceful direction of the Sunday psalm and Leslie's lovely accented recitation of the morning gospel. And of course, I miss bowing before flying Jesus while receiving the bread of life and the cup of salvation. But in the absence of these comforts, I've come to understand just how important it is that I continue to support our beloved community through my renewed commitment in giving to St. Pat's and sustaining our good work. In this time when we feel so disconnected from one another, it is the spirit of giving that binds us together. 2 Corinthians advises us that each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Let us be cheerful. Let us look back on the wonderful moments we've shared together through our fellowship at St. Patrick's and be cheerful for what we have. I also hope that you will think ahead about the many more wonderful moments still to come, and again be cheerful that we will come back together to love, to nurture, to worship, and to feed. Thank you for allowing me this moment with you today. God bless you, and God bless St. Patrick's Episcopal Church.